The Bengals, well, their losing streak has reached 4 games. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com here at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, where the Bengals fall to the Packers 27-18 in Joe Flacco's debut. And it was really a tale of two halves in this game. First half, the offense stunk. The defense was okay, pretty good. Second half, the offense was really good, and the defense stunk. And that's the problem right now with this Cincinnati Bengals team, as they've been awful on offense in the first half of these games over this losing streak. And on defense, they aren't making enough plays. And that's really the issue. And I look at this team and I look at what they did, and there's some positives to take away from this game. And Joe Flacco is a huge one, which we'll get to. But overall, when you are going on the road, when you're playing a really good team, when you're playing a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, when you are starting a quarterback that got here 5 days ago, there's a lot going against you. And so what you need to do is have some splash plays early, is get off to a good start, is take some of the 78,000 plus fans that were here at Lambeau, take them out of the picture a little bit by scoring early. And it looked like the Bengals might have a shot to do that. The defense forces a turnover on the first possession of the game. The Packers are driving. DJ Turner with the tip, Geno Stone with the interception, and boom, it felt like the Bengals could be off to the races. It felt like the Bengals might get off to that hot start. And then they went 3 and out. And then they went 3 and out. I think they got a first down on their second drive and then punted. And then they went 3 and out and 3 and out. They went 3 and out on 3 of their first 4 possessions. And that was really the story for me. If this Bengals team is going to be good, the offense is going to be the reason why. It's why you trade for Joe Flacco. It's why I like the trade, because I think you saw with Jake Browning it just was not going to happen, where your offense carries you, not just as passable. The offense can't just be passable, and they were passable today. That's not good enough. That won't be good enough Thursday against the Steelers. That won't be good enough to keep them winning enough games for Joe Burrow to come back. That won't be good enough, period. But were there some highlights? Yes, but there just weren't enough. This defense just doesn't have enough playmakers right now. Really disappointed with the second half, because this Bengals offense gave them a shot, and this defense needed to get a stop, and they didn't. They didn't do that. They force a field goal when it was 24-18, but that's it. You give up the field goal. That's it. And so it was 3rd and 8, 2:31 to go. And Matthew Golden gets open for a 31-yard gain. That's the play. And that's what sucks. That's what sucks when you don't have Trey Hendrickson out there. That's the play. He suffered a back contusion, didn't return. I assume he's in a lot of pain. We'll see on a short week if he can play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Man, there's going to be a lot. It's going to be a whirlwind this week. But let's get to some overall takeaways from this game. Outside of that, outside of the high-level stuff, defense doesn't make enough plays in the second half. Offense doesn't make virtually any plays in the first half. Evan McPherson nearly sets an NFL record with the 67-yard field goal. Of course, Matt LaFleur called a timeout, and so he has to kick it again, and it's short. It's a really tough kick, and that is what it is. But overall, I think that this team, there's one sweeping conclusion that I have from tonight's game, and I'll get to that coming up next. This video is brought to you by Sleeper. Use promo code BengalsTalk, and guess what? They're going to match your first deposit up to $100. And right now, you can try Sleeper for free. Right now, get $20 for free without making a deposit with Sleeper. And obviously, you can get that deposit match with promo code BengalsTalk. Again, that's Sleeper. Terms and conditions apply. Check them out right now and use promo code BengalsTalk. All right, let's get to my major conclusion here from this game. And Joe Flacco finished 29 of 45, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 90.9 quarterback rating. His longest pass was 19 yards and completed 64.4% of his passes. The reason why I mentioned Joe Flacco's stat line is because the Bengals have a real quarterback, a real starting quarterback, a player that is poised under pressure, a player that isn't going to get rattled when the offense goes 3 and out, 3 out of their first 4 drives. He came out and engineered. So he was 8 of 15 in the first half for 40 yards. And then on their first drive of the second half, when the Bengals are down 10-0 and they had to get a score, he calmly drove them down 17 plays, 78 yards. He completed 6 of 9 passes for 50 yards and a touchdown. His touchdown was on 4th down, money down, super pressure-packed. and finds Tanner Hudson in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Then, in the end zone right here, Jamar Chase makes an outstanding play as well. The Bengals scored on their first 3 possessions of the second half. Would have scored on all 4 if Evan McPherson made the 56-yard field goal into the win. Tough field goal, didn't make it. But in the game was almost over. The Bengals were playing for an onside kick, essentially, at that time. Regardless, the Bengals have a real quarterback. That's my takeaway today. Now, is that going to be enough? I don't know. But everything you saw about Joe Flacco and heard about Joe Flacco, poised, leader, understands concepts, all those things, clearly does. And was the first half awful? It was. And this offense was awful. And I think there's frustration with Zach Taylor. There's frustration with the offense as a whole. I get it. But in the second half, they found a rhythm. In the second half, you saw Jamar Chase. You saw T. Higgins. You saw Noah Fant. You saw Chase Brown on the 2-point conversion. You saw their playmakers making plays. And so we'll see. We will see. But I think that's the overwhelming thing here. The overwhelming takeaway is, man, oh, man, they might have a real quarterback. And this team was built to have a real quarterback, have a superstar quarterback. And so when you go from superstar quarterback to backup quarterback, that's really tough. But when you go from superstar quarterback to solid starting quarterback, which I think Joe Flacco was tonight, given the fact that he had his first practice with the Bengals on Wednesday, think about how important all these training camp reps are for Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow talks about that. And reps with Jamar and reps with T. Think about all that stuff. Joe Flacco hasn't had any of that. He said, Jamar told me he had like 12 reps with Joe Flacco this week because of his illness. And so for Jamar to go out there and have 10 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown, for this offense to get going in the second half, there's something to build on. T. Higgins, 5 catches, 62 yards. Noah Fant, 4 catches, 27 yards. Samaje Perine got involved. Chase Brown got involved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 different guys caught passes. Look, I'm not saying the offense was perfect, but I do think it matters that that's the case. On defense, they have to find a way to get a stop when they need it. On those got-to-have-it plays, there's got-to-have-it downs, those got-to-have-it moments. Matthew Golden can't be running free for a 31-yard game. It just can't happen on 3rd and 8. And so, plenty to clean up. All eyes on Pittsburgh now. All eyes on Pittsburgh. You got to find a way to get that game. You're 2-4. You get that game, and you drop Pittsburgh to 4-2, and you get to 3-4. You're back in this thing because you have Pittsburgh on October 16th this Thursday, and then a month later on November 16th up there. And so you got to get both of them, certainly, but it starts on Thursday. So there's plenty to digest, plenty to discuss. It's a short week with the Steelers coming to town on Thursday. We're going to have you covered every step of the way. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. Make sure you check out everything we've posted. Joe Flacco, Zach Taylor. You're going to hear from Jamar Chase, Orlando Brown Jr., Noah Fant. Instant coverage right here, and of course plenty on our website, bengalstalk.com. For Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien, signing off at Lambeau Field, where the Bengals fall to the Packers 27-18. Their losing streak continues. We'll see if they can snap it on Thursday against the Steelers. Until then, thank you so much for watching and listening to Cincinnati Bengals Talk.